Hello, everyone, and welcome. I have a very special guest here with me today. Her name is Mary Gomez Fonseca, and she has a very special project that she's going to talk to us about. And before we leap into that, I'm going to do the land acknowledgement. I come to you from the unceded traditional and ancestral territories of the Coast Salish people, in particular the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. I do the land acknowledgement as a matter of my part in the healing process and the reconciliation process in Canada. Welcome, Mary. Mary is a, I have to read your introduction because I don't have it memorized. I'm a writer, not an actor, as I always say. So, Mary Gomez Fonseca is a painter, poet, and performance artist who is working on a project called Birdsong, Chant des oiseaux. Mary has her master's in museum studies from the University of Toronto, master's in art history from UBC, and an undergrad in art history, criticism, and conservation. She is a trained actor from Vancouver Acting School and has learned voiceover from on the mic training. I know Mary through the Arts Club Theatre Company, where she is one of the front of house managers. Mary joins me today to talk about her project, Birdsong, Chant des oiseaux. Welcome, Mary.
Hi, Sue. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I hear you just did a whirlwind tour in Toronto.
Good. I did. I went to see a ballet.
Which one?
Um, I went to see the final performance of Guillaume Cote's. He's a principal dancer for the National Ballet. He actually danced for 26 years, and this is the beginning of Guillaume Cote. It was so lovely.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so when I was in Toronto, I lived there for 20 years, and so I grew up with kind of not grew up with, but my Toronto life and Guillaume Cote are kind of synonymous. So it was lovely.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your project.
Well, my project is a love song to ballet. That's how I would describe it. And basically, it's also a performance piece. And it's a performance film and it's performance painting. And what I mean by that is I create characters and I do a series of painting and they're all in black and white. So it's like they're film stills. And then I get them digitally photographed and I'll project them. And then I will actually perform as one of the characters over top the projection that you'll see, which would be like a film. And there'll be a music score, and I'll be actually reciting a long poem describing the story. And that's my project, and it's called Birdsong. And basically, it takes place from the mid 1650s all the way up to the 1910s in Paris. So, kind of
Wow.
the origin of ballet until the very foundations of modern ballet with Nijinsky and the Ballet Russe in Paris. And it takes place then. And it's a story. There's so many elements to it because it's a story of a young girl who basically travels through time and then becomes a performer as an adult in late 19th century, early 20th century Paris. And she performs the same thing. She performs a love song to ballet, and then I'm like the reincarnation of this person, and I perform it. So, and it's called Birdsong because the character um actually wears a bird mask while she performs.
Oh,
And
okay.
and yes, and the character is able to float and travel through time, and it's quite magical, I would say. There's what's called a ballet angel, who's a spirit that she meets during childhood, who shows her she has visions of the future of dance. So when she's born, ballet is just basically invented, so to speak, under King Louis the 14th, and he's the first king. He was known as a ballet king.
Oh, I
And
didn't
part
know
of his divine right of rule was he considered being a ballet dancer made him divine. He would make his military take ballet lessons, for example. Everyone had to know how to do ballet. It was considered royal. And he was the first to set up, to codify ballet, the first school of ballet in Paris. So I'm born during that time. And then I have visions, or I'm not, I guess the character who's called Bird is born during that time and has visions of the future of ballet. And then actually dies of, this is so complex, so it dies of tuberculosis. It was reborn again in the 19th century, and then is a performer and then is with ballet dancers, so to speak. So yeah, it chronicles kind of the history of ballet, plus this character's relationship to it. And I guess it's sort of based on me, but it isn't me. It's very fictional.
Yeah.
As you can see, yeah. So hard to explain. It's so hard to, it's quite complex. You have to kind of see it to believe it, but it gives me great joy.
Of course. Wow. That's the whole point of this channel, you know.
Yes.
And so we know the inspiration was the ballet. Have you performed it yet?
No, that's the thing. I'm still painting. I'm painting the series, and I'm about halfway through. There'll probably be about 45 paintings altogether.
Oh, wow.
And then, yes, and then it'll be a performance installation. So I will actually be physically exhibiting the work on the stage in concentric circles. The paintings are about 16 by 20 inches. Some of them are 22 by 30, like poster size. And they'll be in concentric circles. Then I'll be sort of in the center of that circle. And everything will go black, and then it'll just be the projection of the image in sequence, like a film. And then there'll be a score, and then I'll be performing and sort of telling my story, and my story will be on screen. So once I've done this initial project, then I would like it to keep growing and become perhaps more, I could do it in a more like in a proscenium theater and make it maybe like the late 19th century. Cool. The time it is. I could involve actors. I wanted to do some shadow work because I have a lot of shadows in the painting. So like some of the characters, they could actually be, I could hire dancers. Dancers could be in it. Do you know what I mean? Like my goal would it to actually become a ballet. Like a ballet. That's the goal. Like I think I'm creating a ballet, to be honest. And I think that's what I'm actually doing is creating a ballet. And there's a lot of images of ballet and ballet dance, and I've known ballet dancers my whole life. And I think ultimately I'm creating a ballet, even though I'm not a ballet dancer. It's interesting. Ballet is my muse. Without ballet, I don't think I would paint. Basically. Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't think I would. It's the thing that when I paint it just came from ballet. The two were discovered at the same time. I was about 14 and I was in the library at school and I was just putting back books. I volunteered at the library. I like books like you. And I was putting away books in the art section and I wasn't a painter before then. And there was a French book that kind of slipped off, my cart. I picked it up and I said, "Oh, what's this?" And it was French painting, in Paris, something like that. And then I opened up the book and there was a chapter and it was on theater and opera and ballet. And there were these beautiful paintings and a lot by Edgar Degas. There were some illustrations by Leon Banks of the Ballet Russe and Nijinsky. There were some old photographs in there. And in that moment, I think it transformed my life. Like I wanted to know at that moment, I said, okay, I want to know everything about these paintings. I want to be a painter. I want to know everything about dance. I want to know everything about Paris. And I did just that. Like it's kind of, in that moment, my entire life was shaped, and it's been that way forever, I guess.
And have you been to Paris?
Pardon?
Have you been to Paris?
I have. Yes,
Okay.
and I'm going again. I'm going again in next year to actually see Ballet BC perform.
Oh, wow.
Yes, in the Champs-Élysées theater that they have there. And it's right on the Champs-Élysées. And it was actually built for Nijinsky's performance for his work, specifically The Rite of Spring,
Okay.
which sort of shaped, you would say, modern dance. And that's what Stravinsky's score. And it caused a riot. They say it caused a riot. It was quite, because it was so modern and cutting edge, I guess. The audiences weren't ready. But its influence is actually a lot of contemporary ballet, a lot of the movements. And one thing that was kind of known in it is that the feet were turned inward. He was doing really like modern kind of movements, and that was considered just so grotesque. Like, why would you do that? And he was looking at a lot of Greek images, like Greek friezes, things like that. That was popular, Egyptian friezes, and he was doing sort of sideways moves and things that are so kind of ahead of their time in some ways. He suffered a lot though he had mental illness, schizophrenia with the diagnosis. They couldn't really make it then, and they wouldn't have the treatment. So after that, it was sort of the end of his career. It kind of ended at that time. And in the story, my character sees the performance, and then like she dies already. She dies in the 16th century. She's reborn in the 19th. After seeing that performance, she dies again. She keeps getting tuberculosis, and then she's born again as me. So it's that kind of thing. So it ends at that time, and the ballet that I'm going to see is going to be performed at that same theater. So I'm very excited.
Oh, nice.
I'm very excited, yeah, because I know the Ballet BC dancers, and then it'd just be so cool. And actually, for my series, I've already painted the theater, and I've painted the character in it and everything. And I did that quite early on, and I was taking classes at Ballet BC. I just take movement classes, and I'm showing them. And then it's so interesting. It kind of manifested, and now they're performing there. And I thought, oh, that's so cool. So I have to go. I'll be going. The last time I was there was 2018. Yeah.
Wow. That's so exciting.
I know, it is exciting. I mean, you're probably like, what is she talking about? It's so hard to explain so quickly, but like,
Well, I think you did a good job.
I guess so. I guess so. I mean, a lot of it too, I should probably discuss. You might notice I have a unique voice. My voice actually comes because as a child, I had very severe respiratory problems since birth. And believe it or not, when I was about 15, because I have a weakened immune, I have like an autoimmune or very weakened immune system and not respiratory problems. I actually caught a form of pneumonia that's actually part of like TB. Basically, I caught TB. And I remember, and I was isolated for so long in the children's hospital. And I remember at the time, because I just discovered the French painting, I said, my God, this is so 19th century, this, like, for me to get tuberculosis, right? And I nearly died of it, actually. And I was very, very upset because I had just, a year before, I had just let me live. And I promise I'll dedicate my life to painting and to ballet. And I did that. Right? And she's reborn again. She asked the ballet and just, can I come back without mask? And he said, yes, but you'll need something that still reminds you of who you were. So I have my voice. So I became this performer with this voice who wears a bird mask. And that's exactly what I'm doing now. So that's where the symbolism comes in, why it's called Birdsong.
Nice.
So, anyway, yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, your prayers were answered. The angels.
Yes, they were the ballet angels, and now I'm doing a series about them. And doing those things. This is what we both have it, like our legacy project. Like,
That's
this
right.
is yours. This is
Yeah.
yours. You've always wanted to do something like this with writing.
That's right. And
Yeah.
then there's the other project I'm working on, which seems to be taking forever. But and that's called The Calm Before Bed. So
All right. And is that also a podcast, or is that more listening?
that's going to be a podcast.
Oh,
So
wow. That
yeah.
too. Amazing too.
Or actually, yeah, an audio book released as a podcast series because it's going to be a series. There's
Wow.
82 stories initially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Mary, it was so great to talk to you. Thank you so
Oh,
much for being my guest today.
so exciting. I feel like of course I'm rambling because I'm just going off the top of my head, but I'm like that anyways. But um that's how I am. But I'm just so excited. I think I'm finally doing something that I've wanted to do my whole life. I'm doing it late in life, but in a way I guess I needed to live in order to do it.
To be sure, to be sure. I think that's how it needs to be is and that's how I feel too. I mean, I'm coming to my project late in life as well, but there needed to be a whole bunch of living that needed to happen prior to having the contextual knowledge in order to
Yeah.
bring it to
Yeah.
what it is.
100%. And that kind of reflection, like
Hmm.
you don't reflect when you're young. You're just in the moment and you're trying to figure things out. And you're not
Right.
you don't know what your choices, you don't really know why you're making the choices you're doing. I
Yeah,
think when you get older, every moment is vital. I think your sense of time changes.
to be
You
sure.
real you realize, my God, so every choice you make is so vital. Is this giving me energy? Is this fulfilling my life? Is this giving me joy, so to speak? Like you suddenly shift the way you are with people, with everything in your life, and I feel like it only can come with age. I mean, I think you're very blessed if you can have it at such a young age, but I always think artists, it depends on the art, but certainly for writing and certainly for art, there's such a maturity. And I even feel in performance, there's just something that comes later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would
Anyways.
agree. I would agree. Yeah, yeah. Again, thanks so much, Mary.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Of
Have a
course.
good day, everyone.
Thanks so much. And we'll see you around.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.